Hello, this is Jen Kinkade, Garden Girl with Two Peas in a Bucket, and I'm excited to bring you the next video in the Inspired series, where we tell our stories through art and design, and I'm using this mood board as inspiration for creating my layout that I'm going to bring to you. I'm going to pull different colors and aspects from it for this month's theme, which is all about me again, and I'm just going to show you a few different techniques of how I achieved the overall look in this layout. First, let's start with the products as always, and as soon as I saw the mood board, I just knew that Amy Tan's new collection, Plus One with American Crafts, collaborated with Cal Barteschi, would be perfect to pull some of those fun colors as well as the bold black and white contrast in the overall design. And what I'm doing here is just showing you some of the pieces that I've picked up for myself personally. I may or may not use all of them, but I at least wanted to give you an opportunity, if you haven't been able to see them in person or order them for yourself, just how great they are. Just the script, thicker phrases there you see, and then these are the letters in black and pink. Also fun to add to your pages. Also, I have some white cardstock here that I've cut down, patterned paper by Studio Calico Print Shop. I will use the black and white side, and some by Crate paper. And also I have my watercolors off to the side here, as well as my adhesive and my water brush pen that you can find in the two-piece shop. So first, what I'm going to do is collect the 3 photos that I wanted to use. The layout is going to be focused around my word for 2014, which is simplify. And when this word first started coming to me, it was all about simplifying so many different areas of my life, including the way that I create. So here I'm just kind of marking where I know I want the photos to be in this layout. And then I'm going to remove everything and add some letter stickers. Now these are just vinyl 1-inch adhesive stickers from Michael's that I picked up, and I'm going to actually just lay down the word simplify here on the bottom, and I decided to stick the photos back there just so I wouldn't go above that area and just to see what it might look like. So first I'm going to start with the S, and if you're afraid that on your particular paper or cardstock of the letter not lifting off, you can put it on your shirt or your pants real quick just to take off some extra adhesive. I've never had any problems with these lifting off after I've used them for a masking technique that I'm going to show you here to outline these letters. I'm going to speed it up a little bit just because it's not that hard to lay down these letters, but I want you to still see the process that I'm going through, how I'm laying each letter down, and just having to readjust as I'm getting to the end there and looking at my spacing a little bit and lifting some of them up. So I didn't edit that out just because I want you to be able to see my thinking. So here I have the word out, and I'm going to get my watercolors ready and use my water brush pen. Now if you haven't used one of those, all you have to do is stick it, screws apart, you stick part of it in water and you just basically suck it up like you would a syringe, and then there's a part that you squeeze and the water comes out. I always keep a paper towel handy just in case more water comes out than what I want to, or just to clean off the brush as I'm using it if I happen to switch colors. So here I'm just using black from this watercolor palette, and I like to use the wells off to the side as well to kind of wipe my brush off. And you'll see what I'm doing here is I'm taking these watercolors and I'm outlining each of the letters. And what I would suggest that you would do first would be to do the letters. If you're going to do this, do the letters that have straight lines before you do the ones that are curved, like the S or the P, just so you can kind of get a feel for how the brush goes around each letter that you would happen to use. So you can see how easy that is. And I'm going to do the M for you and show you how it works, and I'm speeding it up because once again I want you to be able to see my process, but I don't want this to be completely and totally boring for you. I just take the time, and I have to reload the brush as needed with a little bit more color. And what this water pen brush does is the water kind of comes out in a, I don't want to say it's a really steady flow, but it's just always there available. You might have to squeeze it from time to time, but it's just different from having to keep dipping it into the water. So I'm using my paper piercer to lift these vinyl letters off. And you can see how well this works. I did not wait any time after I had outlined this with paint. I took my paper piercer and went straight to town, taking these letters off. And you can see there with the eye, I need to go back and do some touch-ups. And I'm going to also show you how I do that as well. I'm just going to reload and go over each outline where it needs to be touched up a little bit. And then after I do that, I'm going to not always reload with color, but I'm going to use what extra color is left on the brush right now to almost make a shadow effect. As you can see, I'm just working on the bottom parts of the letter and on the right hand side to give it a little bit of a shadow effect. And you'll be able to see that a little bit more in the detail photos that accompany this video. Just really easy. Go along each letter like that. And like I said, while you can't see it here, it just adds a little bit of a shadow effect. I could have edited this out, but I really wanted you all to see my process and what I went through in doing this. And then if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments for me and I'll be happy to answer any of them for you. And there you go. Pretty easy. Now I've got my photos back out and I'm trying to rearrange them, see how I want them to be. At first I thought I would just do 2 or 3 across horizontally, but then the more I played around with each photo, I thought I would end up doing a grid design on this layout. And my reason for choosing each photo that I have there, the flowers to me just represent a fresh start, spring, newness, and that's why I chose that particular photo of the tulips that I have. And then the other 2 pictures, those photos of me, obviously I chose to incorporate those not only because our theme for this month is all about me again, but also to represent how in the one picture I'm looking serene and the other one I kind of have questions, because I think with any change, any transition, you have questions and you're trying to figure out things. So even something simple can be difficult. So this is a journey for me and I just really want to document it. So now I took out a few of the different pattern papers from the 6x6 pad and I'm adding them as backgrounds to my photos as mats, photo mats, trimming them as I need to and just trying to pull colors again from the mood board that I showed you at the beginning of the video. What I love about the colors here are that you can see the traditional pinks and reds that you would associate around this time of year, but also the bolder black and white colors, because I think that's what I'm really loving about pages that I'm creating is simplifying with some black and white and then adding pops of color just to accent the story that I'm trying to tell in my page. So I cut this little love element as the 4th piece to the grid design that I have here on my page. And you can see I'm just building each area and each layer. And I have one more photo I'm going to add some adhesive to and get ready to add to the page. It's just really simple. I really try hard not to overthink a page, and I think the ones that come together so easily like that are the ones that are creatively satisfying for me as well. And so now I have each one figured out where I want it to go, and I'm being careful to keep these photos to the edge of the white paper because I know I'm going to use the black and white paper that I showed you earlier to act as a frame for this layout, and I'm adding that to it. I just want to have this overall basic design, and so here I decided to end up using the print shop paper from Studio Calico and just lining it up there. I had cut my white cardstock down to about 8 by 10 in order to accommodate the added pattern paper behind it, so I could end up with a true 8.5 by 11 page. And even though lately I've been doing more 12 by 12 pages, I specifically chose to do an 8.5 by 11 because that's what fits into my album that I'm doing for my Word this year, and that's why you're seeing this 8.5 by 11 page from me in this. So here on a whim during the video, I decided I wanted to pull in some purple elements from the mood board, and I decided why not add some hearts. Purple is one of my favorite colors, but honestly it's not something that is in my closet or that I scrapbook with a lot, and I thought, why not, since it's in the mood board, add it to this particular layout. And all I did was I drew a heart with my brush pen, and then I decided to add just some lines with it. You can see how easy this is coming together, and I will show you here in a minute where I got the idea. I'm sure I probably found an inspiration piece on Pinterest. Or no, I actually found the inspiration for this from a hand soap bottle from Target, and I knew I had been wanting to incorporate that into a scrapbooking project. So I had made another card earlier just like that, and that mimicked the hand soap bottle. So I thought, how cool, why not use it? And so I'm using the heart that I already had made, and I'm going to trace that heart and then cut that out. And I will add these hearts as embellishments to my page. And I want these hearts to symbolize for me to remember to love myself, to not neglect myself, to put myself in priority sometimes. And I mean that not in a selfish way, but just for us to remember to nourish ourselves, nourish our souls, and if that be through creativity, then that's great. So you can see I've adhered, or getting ready to adhere, the hearts down, and I'm using the 2P's exclusive metal flare that says "It's a New Day." And I think with this still being somewhat the beginning of the year in February, it's good to remember to start fresh. And I'm going to add a little bit of thread to add some texture to the page as well, like you've seen me do so many times. I'm going to get my handy dandy glue gun out, and that will both adhere the flare badge as well as keep the thread down too. And now as we move on, I remembered having the typed words on the mood board, and I wanted to be able to include that into this layout as well. And because that love typography is there in my grid design, I just added I'm adding the words, remember to love yourself. Because it's important for us to love ourselves, because if we don't love ourselves first, then we can't love other people if we're not being filled up. It's just an easy way to add some simple words to a page, and as you all well know, I like to add hidden journaling to my pages as well, because often what I add is very personal. Now I'm going to take some Mr. Huey's, and I'm going to add a few ink splatters to the corners of my pages there. I don't want to overdo it. I'm just going to add a few drops here and there. Pretty simple. Now I am taking the stickers from the +1 collection, and what I really like about these stickers or this collection in general is it can be every day or it can be about travel. It's very easy to use in lots of areas that you would want to document. So I'm just looking at the sticker sheet and deciding what would really go well. Here and there I'm adding this little hello directional arrow to the top of my hearts. Now I'm adding some of the numbers from the sticker sheet. I'm just going to add 2014. And it adds a little bit more color to the page as well. It coordinates with the one pattern paper that I have behind one of my photographs. And then just a little heart right there for extra embellishment. Then I'm looking at some of these other thickers, trying to decide. I wanted to add a few more layered elements, and I had put a patterned piece of paper off to the side there that had a little bit more of the typewritten lettering. I want to position the sticker just right to get some of the words that I wanted, love, life, in there, and I just put that sticker right on top of the patterned paper, and I'm using my scissors to cut that out, trim around there. Just an easy way to add more dimension, more texture, and a little bit of contrast with the black and white. It coordinates with this page in the mood board. I added some American Crafts pop dots to the back also to raise it up just a little bit. And these are enamel dots, gray enamel dots that I'm adding to the upper left corner. And I think that I'm almost done, but I just keep looking at it, and I've really been working a lot with script lately. And I thought, on a whim, honestly, why not show you how I add some script? Just a little phrase, trust it, because that kept going through my mind too, was to trust this process and simplifying. So I'm just taking my water pen brush again. You can see I practice the phrase trust it on this paper, and I'm going to practice it a couple more times, because normally before I script anything for a page or a layout, I practice for such a long time. But honestly, this is such a whim that I'm doing this. I'm super nervous. So I'm loading up my water brush pen, and I'm going to write the phrase trust it. And I'm so glad that I did. I just like the way that it looked, and I wanted to be able to show you how I did it. So I hope you were inspired by this page to tell your stories through art and design.